Hello there guys, this is Admiral Revan here. We'd like to introduce a sponsor. Stream Raiders Stream Captains is a wonderful sponsor of ours where you can interact with your streamers and also your viewers online. You can actually help each other out in both ways. Achieve goals, do quest together campaigns, help the streamer actually play some units of your own to help them out to complete the mission what they're trying to do. As a streamer, you can actually as a host of a stream captain, you actually can interact with your viewers and actually get, through the content, dungeons, portals, and other things as well, campaigns. You also can buy a lot of stuff online as well, skins, and upgrade your units as well. But at the end of the day, it's all about having fun and interacting with your community. So I would like to say big thanks to Stream Raiders, Stream Captains for your lovely work. So definitely go check it out. Stream Raiders is an awesome franchise. Definitely one worthy to help you in the long run.
14.
Well, my friends, today we're actually talking about some dev block talk about in World of Warships. It's a lot of things going on, so as you noticed in the title earlier, I did mention that we're going to be highlighting some key topics for you. So we've got some what's coming on soon for 10.6 and 10.7, Dutch cruisers, German battle cruisers or battleships, as well as Soviet carriers and more commander skill rework in progress and balance changes and so forth. I have to admit this video is a bit lengthy, so just be aware of it. I will try and keep things in summary for you, and definitely will provide you the dev blog links and everything for you to read at your own time and leisure. So everything is a work in progress and everything is subject to change. Please understand that anything that I show you now could be different between now and then. Alright, so this is a very important video for you all to understand what's going on. So basically, due to the submarine testing that was done recently, there's some feedback back in the 1st of July that has happened before the 4th of July and Canada Day events that happen in World of Warships. There's a lot of good things that's happening. So basically, there's some implementation of the dive capacity is going to be improved on. So the submarines on all tiers will now slowly regain dive capacity while surfaced. This will combat more diverse for the class. However, full depletion of the dive capacity will significantly influence the sub's survivability. Sonar and ping and crosshair and torpedoes. This is a pretty good one. So basically, they're trying to make the sonar ping more comfortable. Its speed has been increased, and this will make interaction with maneuverable targets, cruisers, and destroyers easier. So definitely, this is something you will find a little bit tricky at first when I first did the submarine testing originally. So this is something that is a good benefit for us to counterattack any destroyers or cruisers. The other thing that it comes down to is for the dynamic crosshair. Now honestly, this is a bit of an improvement, so definitely it's a good thing to see. It'll be lean on targets with sonar ping at different ranges is easier, so that's actually pretty beneficial. Balance interaction with subs with different classes. We have reduced the chance of submarine torpedoes causing flooding and critical damage in modules. That's a bit disappointing at first, but there is a reason for this to balance the damage output in the game. Sometimes I felt that the submarines were a bit overpowered, but I have to admit that this is all about, living up to expectations to everyone out there. So the guidance of the torpedoes has been improved against other submarines and worsened against battleships. So it's a bit of a pro and con there. But honestly, if you can fight against other submarines, why not? Depth and detectability, that is still being work in progress. I have to admit that what I've read in here, it's sort of like they have acknowledged that there's something not 100% right with it. But it's not fully done yet either. So it's a bit of like, yeah, we acknowledge it's there, but we acknowledge it hasn't been, fully finalized yet either. So, we've increased the diving rudder shift speed and we can control submarines more responsive. That's good. The gameplay between subs and destroyers to be more pronounced. So submarines, detectability in the periscope, and operational depths will be reduced. That's going to be interesting. Surface ships will be detected by submarines from the same range as from planes. Therefore, reconnaissance will not be the main task for subs. That's been funny because like submarines back during the wars were used for reconnaissance as well as stealth and attack, hit and run tactics. Honestly, that's going to be an interesting outcome there. If the submarine is at operational extreme depth, hydrophone will detect the enemy subs at these depths, paired with improved torpedo guidance. This will enhance sub-to-sub combat. So, fighting against submarines, there's going to be some good anti-submarine warfare tools. Definitely have a read of that because it's going to be pretty effective. So, yeah, it's going to be a good indication that there's going to be some good improvements here. Matchmaking has got to be on the concern. So basically, one of the frequent suggestions is to increase the size of teams from 12 to, example, 15. That could be interesting. It could be interesting. So we might be seeing 15 versus 15 game mode instead of 12 versus 12. So they don't have plans to increase the size yet, but this is a very good suggestion. Honestly, I felt that like when you have submarine game mode, you may as well have 3 subs on both sides at least, and then have the rest of it all surface ships. And 15 versus 15 is pretty decent game mode. However, Wargaming has not finally decided that yet, and still adamant and sticking with 12 versus 12, but is likewise to change. So there is a possibility for this happening. So keep in touch with the dev blogs as well, because anything could happen. So anything is subjected to change. It is pretty good, feedback that we have been given here. So it's gonna be an interesting, time and pace for this whole franchise in the next 12 months, I think, and years to come. Because if they do go ahead with 15 versus 15 on submarine battles, that'll probably be a very good indication. I don't think 12 versus 12 game mode for randoms will change, but I will think that when it comes down to submarine warfare, it'll be a big different story. Okay, so there's still a lot of open tests, since 2019. So it depends on what is going to be happening. But they did say something interesting though. However, testing on a separate server or in a special type of battle can't provide the same amount of data as testing in random battle does. Why don't you rename operations to operations and sub-warfare. That would be a good idea. Honestly, operations and sub-warfare category will be a good category for players to play both submarines and surface ships in both the operations and as well as the submarine game mode. That way you can actually do things in a more in-depth manner. So pretty much when I'm looking at this is pretty much, it needs to be combined. So my thoughts are combining operations, submarines, grand battles like the super battleships into one game mode called Subs and Operations Warfare. That way, operations can be predefined in a different wording that you have battleships, super battleships. You can use them for the grand battles and stuff like that. As well as in regarding to, let's just say that anything that you're seeing right now should be changed. So operations will remain there. You can have a variety of operations to play with, like operations of the week, like Narai, for example, or Cherry Blossom, or Dunkirk, or New Defense of Newport, and other things like that. You still keep them, reintroduce the operations that had been removed and put them as well back in. Include the submarines warfare, and then on top of that, include the super battleships into one category. That way, you can have many opportunities for players just to have fun in there. That's just my thoughts, anyway. Cooperative battles, it's calm, but it's not as fun. But there's a lot of testing coming up in 10.7. which will be available on the public test real soon. So definitely keep an eye on that. Alright, so that's one thing I wanted to highlight. Now, there's a lot of, new topics that I've been listing here. So, as you know, Soviet aircraft carriers are coming into World of Warships. This is a 10.6 thing. Basically, these aircraft carriers have been in development for a while. I did mention this earlier about my thoughts about the Soviet aircraft carriers. And honestly, the Soviet aircraft carriers have me wondering. Now, there's a couple of reasons behind this. Why did Wargaming went through all this trouble just to introduce submarines, and then now they're introducing Soviet aircraft carriers? Am I against the idea of Soviet aircraft carriers? Honestly, I am not. Soviet aircraft carriers, or Russian aircraft carriers if you want to call it, it's just basically, I got to the point that they definitely need to be added. So it just needed to be added at some point, but it's worth it. So all good. So anyway, when I was looking at these Soviet aircraft carriers, I was looking at it very carefully, and I said to myself, there's a lot of opportunities here. They will be introduced at tier 4, at tier 6, and then tier 8, and as well as 10. Same idea with the current system at the moment. I am hoping that these aircraft carriers won't be too overpowered, but it'll be interesting to see how they work out. Definitely, tier 8 and 10 aircraft carriers are armed with HE rockets. Now, the Germans have armor piercing, so that's actually still pretty damn good. But there's a new premium carrier that I'm actually really got my eyes on at the moment, which is the Soviet aircraft carrier Chekhov. Chekhalov at tier 8. So basically, this ship is been in the project in the late 1930s and hasn't been released in the Second World War. But there was rumors of it being in development stages. So honestly, that this aircraft carrier is going to be pretty interesting to play with. All the characteristics of these aircraft carriers are listed down here below. Definitely worthwhile having a quick read and gander over it. And I have to admit, in moving forward though, you'll be very, very surprised what you're going to be reading and seeing in the near future. Now, this brings to a very interesting topic coming up. Now, there has been this topic coming up about and regarding to the World of Warships Command Center opening event for new ships. These are, believe it or not, German battleships, but they look like German battle cruisers. So we have a whole brand new tier of ships, starting at tier 3, working up to tier 10. Now, as you know, in World of Warships currently, there are 2 tech trees, and there's only 1 tech tree for the German battleships at the moment. And basically, you'll be finding that it will be starting right after tier 2, and it'll be split in half, where you'll be able to start grinding new German battleships side by side starting from tier 3 onwards. So these are the look and feel of the new ships. So you got the tier 3 is the Von der Tann, tier 4 is the Moltec, and the tier 5 is the Deflinger, and also the tier 6 is the Mackensen. Tier 7 is the Prince Henrik. So there is a tier 7 premium, tier 6 premium, that's called the Prince Friedrich, and they are very similar. These 2 ships are very similar, so that looks pretty good. And I expect there's a lot of good, guns and firepower for this one for the main batteries, as well as the secondaries and AA defense on the tier 7 will be more improved. The tier 8 is called the Z10, and the Z10, it looks pretty nice. But it looks like it only has 2 guns in the rear and 1 in the front, so that's in development stage. The tier 9, on the other hand, is called the Prinz Ruprecht. The Prinz Ruprecht. It's a good ship by look and feel. It's got 2 guns in the front, 2 in the rear, and it's got twin barrels. I would expect that this ship would have better improvement guns of the Bismarck and Tirpitz. Going down further, the tier 10, Schifflefin. I don't know how you pronounce it, but forgive me. But the Schifflefin looks like a decent tier 10 battleship. Twin barrels for both the front and the rear. It looks like an F de Grossi, but it looks like a very improved, slope of the armor, as well as the positioning of the guns, and as well as the hull. So I have a feeling that this ship will be pretty tough to beat as well. It's a good rival to the Kurfürst. These ships, were based on real ships of the Imperial German Navy that participated in World War One, and the battleship Mackensen was launched in 1917, but not completed. But German tier 7 to 10 battleships are based on designs developed in the late 1910s. These are World War One ships, so this is actually pretty good to see World War One ships gonna be used in World of Warships. The concept of the alternative branch of German battle resets on short-range combat due to low concealment, decent secondaries, small number of main batteries with a low range of fire, and the ships are also armed with long-range torpedoes. Now that I have to admit, battleships with torpedoes, that reminds me of the Tirpitz. So the American battleship Constellation with the torpedoes at long range, they might as well introduce World of Torpedoes. That's just my opinion. But I think that they're getting a bit too carried away here. I'm looking forward to it though. Just have to wait and see what's going to be happening in the near future, I guess. So there is a new British battleship at Tier 10. It's a 1915 design with a gigantic fast battle cruiser armed with 508mm guns and 3 turrets. Incomparable, has low concealment and slim armor. Detailed characteristics of the new ships will be announced later. So this ship will be pretty decent to play in the long run. I have a feeling that this ship is going to be, decent to play with as a premium. More details will be announced soon with the features and everything, so check that out real soon. Now, there's actually a few things coming out in 10.6 that I'm really, really curious about. So, for example, the balance changes. Balance changes is coming out for the aircraft carriers. Well, we're not too worried about that, but definitely have a read and gander on that frontier. I'm just hoping, as I said before, that these carriers are not too overpowered, but they'll have some good, decent gameplay against other players out there. But it doesn't look like there's nothing really focused on other ships yet, but it looks like they're focusing on making a balance and better launch times and stuff like that for the carriers. So that is pretty decent for the Soviets anyway. The test ships, there's a few good test ships in production right now, and there will be changes applied to the airstrike armament and the ships Repulse, Ragnar, and Eendracht. If you're wondering what the Repulse is, the Repulse is definitely a nice, decent, just trying to remember what the insignia is. It looks like a battleship. Yeah, it looks like it. But anyway, the funny thing about these ships that they got put together, it looks pretty decent on a piece of paper, but I'm wondering, what is it in the near future? Okay, so the Repulse is a battleship. That's what I thought. If you're wondering what it looks like, there she is. That's the Repulse. The Repulse looks pretty good. But the other ships that they have there, the Ragnar. Ragnar is a destroyer. Yeah, the Ragnar is a destroyer. It's in development stage. Hasn't been officially released yet, but has been in development for some time. Now, the good thing about it is that it's got a good engine boost. Consumer been decreased from 15% to 10%. So, anyways, that's alright. That's the Repulse been spewed, engine boost been decreased, sorry. But the Ragnar, as the main battery, has been decreased 4 to 3.5. Hopefully, it should be good. I'm hoping. But the surveillance radar is going to be interesting. I haven't seen a destroyer with surveillance radar for a long time. And I think the only ship I could remember that did have surveillance radar was like the Smoland of that tier. And the Smoland pretty much did kick butt. It really did. So it's just like one of those things. Now, I'm looking at what the cruiser Eendracht is going to be like at the moment, but it should be a good ship to play. And also, it's just only, all give or take situation right now because the Dutch armament on the airstrikes has been reduced to 5 seconds now. So we'll just see, how that plays out. The next thing I want to talk to you about is Dutch cruisers. Okay, so Dutch cruisers is pretty much on the cards, and it is on the dockyard. So dockyard is getting updated. Okay, so basically the previous dockyard was the ZF6. I have to admit the ZF6 dockyard missions were a bit, too long and laborious, and honestly, it's too expensive to get that ZF6. The ZF6 is a good ship, no doubt. I have seen it in action, but I was kind of disappointed because that it is expensive to get that thing. Honestly, that I felt that the ZF6 missions were a bit too much. So I'm just not too worried about getting it anymore. Now, here is some good things coming up for you. Now, the dockyard, submarines and ranked and other news is coming up soon. So wait a minute, we got submarines and ranked battles? Oh boy, that's gonna be a challenge. I knew that this was coming, so don't be surprised, okay? Honestly, the dockyard for this time round is going to be focused all about Dutch cruisers. Okay, so the D7 Provinciën will be available to construct at the dockyard. Sounds awesome. It's not tier 7, it's tier 8. My bad. I'm a bit dyslexic today. Maybe I should get myself a cup of coffee next time. Alright, so the tier 8, let me try that again. The new tier 8 Dutch cruiser D7 Provinciën will be available to construct at the dockyard. Okay, it's a tier 8, just correction, it's a tier 8. So the construction of this warship consists of 24 phases. Which can be completed by finishing dockyard combat missions or spending 1,500 doubloons per phase. So, in retrospect, 1,500 times 24, just give you an idea, you're spending about 36,000 doublons, which is around about like nearly $200 Australian. That's a lot of money. It's not cheap. So you're better off grinding the missions as much as you can, and honestly, that'll probably be the better way instead of doing the alternative method. Alright. Now, even though you have done all the completion, that sort of thing, in total you need to complete 21 out of 24 building phases by completing dockyard combat missions. To complete the construction though, you need to purchase the 3 phases of construction. Well, you know what? I'd rather just grind it out as much as I can. The rewards are good as it is, but if you can afford the last few phases, why not? But if you can't, don't worry about it. Kenny camos and camouflages is better than nothing. If you can complete the construction the D7 position by spending doublons, making sure that to keep progressing through the dockyard and combat missions anyway, completing each phase will bring you 250 steel. So 250 steel though, multiplied by 24 is 6,000 steel. So with it being expensive as it is, being 1,500 multiplied by 24 is 36,000 doublons. So for 200 bucks, you get 6,000 steel. In one way, it can be argued that it's a rip-off. In the other way, I can say very openly it could be a benefit. Now, there are two reasons behind this statement, and I will show and explain to you why in a second here. So, pretty much from my side of it, is that if you're after, say, a Stalingrad, for example, or any of the steel warships, and you're getting close to, that level, you can get to the point that, like, well, I'm nearly there. I don't know what to do right now. And honestly, you have an abundance of ships to choose from. So let me just get the steel warships like the Stalingrad up there. Okay. Here is the Stalingrad. Okay. The Stalingrad, very close to it. If I were to save up my steel and grind it right now, we get 6,000. I have literally 813 to go, and to get the Stalingrad. The Stalingrad is a beautiful ship, and that's with the coupon. If I didn't have the coupon, well, so 13,813 minus 6 grand is about 7,800, and that's actually not too bad. What can I say about getting these steel ships? Well, it's a lot. The best way to earn steel though is to really push hard on clan battles, ranked, to earn the steel that you need. Honestly, they need to increase the rewards for earning the steel, to be honest. But honestly, there's a lot of good steel ships on there that you can get in the actual armory. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm actually finding the ships for you. So here is the steel ships. Okay. So you got the Franklin Roosevelt, the Plymouth, the Austin. The Austin is a very good steel warship. Like if you like the Atlanta or the Smolensk, you got sap shells in this thing, and it's pretty damn decent. Honestly, I'm only about 7,563 out, but it's there, but not there yet. So even like the Shikishima, it's actually pretty awesome too. Good Yamato, built warship with better guns. It's like 510mm guns. It's like better than a Satsuma, honestly. In some ways. Then you got the Bugatti, another good ship right there for French battleship. And obviously the FDR. Not everyone is into the FDR. I am interested in getting the FDR. I have to admit that I have been thinking about it, contemplating about it for a while now. But I'll tell you why out of these steel ships, which one I would get first. Okay, just to start off with the basics. The Stalingrad has been in World of Warships for a long time. Okay, due to most recently, and I'm saying it not too long ago, when they did a lot of changes in the last few patches, at one point, one of the ships was removed from this list, and I believe it was called the Summers, because it's a very popular ship. And basically, when the Summers was removed, it would not surprise me in the near future that ships like the Stalingrad, for example, and other ships like this would be removed in the near future, because people will be using ships like this most commonly, like for clan battles or ranked. Honestly, the Stalingrad is a lovely ship. I love like the aspect of the 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 shape of the warship, the hull, everything. The fact that how good the guns are on this thing. It's got like two in the front. I think it's only got one in the rear. That's correct. So it has some good firepower, AA defense and stuff like that. It's got the best AA, but honestly, that this ship can take hits on the front of the ship, whereas the Moskva rival can't. But the guns on this Stalingrad are a lot better too. If you were to work down the track of getting a different steel ship, well, the Austin I would recommend to those who love playing cruisers. If you love playing the Atlanta, or you love playing the Smolensk, or you love playing the Kutsov, yeah, get this one. Yeah, get this one. Because it's definitely good. The shells on it is ridiculously awesome, because you got a fast main battery reload. Heavy party is repair party is pretty good. Defensive AA and also hydro. Honestly, you can't go wrong with this one, with sap shells. Now, in the long run, it really depends on your own gameplay. Some people swear by the Plymouth. I mean, like, the Plymouth is pretty decent, and it's got good, smoke, hydro, radar, and also health regeneration. That's actually pretty decent. I don't think this one has torpedoes, but it looks like it does on the side. Yeah, it does actually. But it seems to be a pretty decent ship to play with. At the end of the day, my friends, it's all about you, how you enjoy the game, and what's beneficial for you in the long run. Alright? So, definitely all on you. Now, getting back to the Tier 8 Dutch cruiser. Now, the dockyard missions are going to be pretty good. There's going to be some good rewards. The port looks fantastic. It looks nice, actually. And part 2 for the Dutch cruisers is basically that any unique commanders that they're going to be introducing, like for this class Jensen, will have enhanced skills for battleships, destroyers, and cruisers for pirate ignition. Also for cruisers and battleships, AA marksman as well. There's some good buffs on percentages that I have there that is set for the AA damage instead of standard 25%. So 35% is pretty good, an extra 10%. The chances on main battery HE shells is 1.5 instead of standard of 1.1%, so it's pretty good. There's going to be a Dutch cruiser's commemorative flag as well. There's the face of the captain. Clan battles is going to be an interesting story. So clan battles are coming up, and the 18th of August to the 4th of October, and that the 14th season of Clan Battles will take place in the 7 vs 7 format of Tier 6 ships. Tier 6. Now that is going to be interesting. There will be no more than 2 aircraft carriers or battleships per team in total. At the start of the season, Admiral Grass Bay and the HSF Grass Bay will be unavailable for clan battles. Restrictions may be subject to change. Details about the season will be announced later, so that's actually going to be an interesting story here. Season 4 of ranked battles will begin in 10.7. Format is 7 vs 7. Tier 6 is Bronze League. Tier 8 is Silver League. Tier 10 is Gold League. Fair enough. I have a feeling that it's easier to grind your way through from bronze to silver, then it'll be a bit of a fight to get to the Gold League. And rank battles changes. You can take part of the battles in submarines, which are available for rent, for free, for random bundles. So that's actually going to be pretty good. You can read the results of the latest summary tests that they've been applied to in here, in this dev block here. So that was about the summary test I was talking about earlier. And it should be good in the long run. It should be good in the long run. Okay. Something nice for the Missouri. So they actually have a ceremonial camo for the Missouri, and that's pretty nice. It looks good though. It looks pretty good though. So it should be good. Should be good to have. There's some new commanders coming out as well. That should be alright. USS Missouri commemoratory flag as well. And all the new insignia stuff as well coming out as well. Franklin D. Roosevelt is going flying fish. I have to admit, these camos are making me laugh. Oh man. Anyway. Wow. Her Majesty's Naval Toaster. Yay, we got a toaster. There it is. Man, I don't know what to say anymore. This is getting more weirder and weirder. I don't know what to say anymore. They got new containers coming out as well, which is pretty cool. It will be announced later on what they are, but hey, it's gonna be good. I think it's gonna be good. Alright, the commander skills is another one that I've been working on to read closely. So after some in-depth reading about this, I will summarize this. Have a quick read about all the battleships, cruisers, and destroyers, and also the aircraft carrier skills they have updated. Each of them has changed. Like, for example, the Pyrotechnician, consumables enhancements. Vigilance AA Gunner, as well as enhanced torpedo protection and AA Marksman. And they added a new skill in line 4, which is called. Let's replace Brisk. So basically, these have new abilities. Okay, these all have new abilities, but the prior technician and all these things down below, they've been added in adjustment towards a submarine release. You have to read it with more depth. The fragmentation damage has been improved on by 15% for the main batteries and secondaries, as well as HE rockets and bombs when firing at submarines. Consumable enhancements. The skill is replaced with Brisk. And increase your ship's speed by 10% while undetected. That is like that ability called Swift and Silence, but they renamed it. Vigilance has added 7% to torpedo protection and damage reduction for that. And also a bonus of 10% towards by depth charges has been added. And added an activated effect with ship consumables reload 5% faster while the ship's AA is active as well. So that's going to be one hell of an interesting experience. Yeah, they were talking about improvements on the secondary battery aiming, so hopefully that's going to be good. I missed the days of secondary fire brawling with my Massachusetts and Georgia, Alaska, Iowa, all those things, including the Germans. So it's going to be good to have them back a little bit, but we'll see. It's going to be an interesting but gradual effect. Close quarter combat has removed the bonus of the -10 to secondary battery reload time though, which is a bit of a downside. Okay, so cruisers, pyrotechnician, expert marksman, outnumbered, and AA gunner has been improved on. It's gonna be pretty good, I think, overall, just by reading that. Okay, so just by looking at that actually looks pretty decent. It means that there's going to be some bonuses to the damage caused by the cruisers, but at the same time, though, it's giving them a bit of a balancing fighting chance against the submarines as well. And just by looking at the destroyer skills is pretty basic. The pyrotechnician, as well as the extra heavy AP shells, is going to be added. That's interesting how they improve the damage caused by depth charges. So 10.7 is going to be pretty full on and taking a bit of adjusting and getting used to. And with the release of 10.7 coming out, there's going to be some adjustments made to the aircraft carriers. For example, it's a thing called Hidden Menace. Add a bonus of -50 to the height of which planes have to reach to become invulnerable, either after an attack or after recalling them to the carrier by pressing F. So, At least, in some ways, it should be good. In other ways, I don't know. I have to admit, I don't know. But there's a lot of things that they've been asking about. But all this is subject to change as well too. And honestly, it really, really is coming down to that right now. Whew, that's a lot of talk there, I have to admit. So 10.6, 10.7 is going to be pretty interesting. So honestly, it's going to be one of those things that is going to be a give or take scenario. There are some balance changes coming up as well for the German destroyers. Basically in 10.6 they are reducing some detectability by range by sea for the shields as well as the Mareka. The Fingyang is a tier 8 premium Pan-Asian. The main battery reload has been decreased to 4.7. The mass has been decreased to 4.2. Increased to 4.2 from 4. I don't know why. The QE, the turning time for the guns and that has been reduced from 72 to 54.5. So the firing range has been increased to 70 kilometers for the Monarch. The Leander and Fiji, the reload time has increased to 8 seconds. Edinburgh has been increased to 7.7 seconds. Jervis detectability by sea has increased to 7.3 instead of 7.2. The Baltimore, the action time of Spine's radar has been reduced to 27 seconds now instead of 30. The Shore's main battery firing range has increased to 15.7. Adria Doria, the sap shell damage increase has improved to 10,250. Honestly, this is going to be one hell of a change. Please note, folks, that anything that you're seeing here or have listened to me talk about it will subject to change. Alright? Everything that you're seeing here will subject to change. There's a lot of things that will change in the near future, I can tell. But for now, I mean, like, it's just a matter of, wait and see. But, my friends, I have to admit that this is one of the longest videos I've ever done for reviewing this content for World of Warships, and I have to say to Wargaming that I am looking forward to this, but at the same time though that it's gonna be one hell of a change, that's for sure. But yeah, definitely I would suggest to people out there to go check them out. The new German cruisers, German battleships is coming out soon. Also, I would recommend definitely start playing them all on the test server when they come out. Now, the new German warships won't be available for us for testing for the regular players. For those who are on the Super Test or the CC program, will be able to. Now, this is why, honestly, for me, if I was a CC, I would definitely give you my views about it, but I won't be able to show those test ships because of NDA reasons. But what I can tell you from this much, from my perspective, that after reading and seeing the vast list of changes they're going through with the commander skill rework and everything. Wargaming did mention they would be doing it, but it's also they did say they plan to introduce new nation warships. Definitely check it out. There is one thing I would like to touch before I go, and that is a new ship's coming out in 10.6 as well. Well, before I wrap this up, there is a new American Tier 9 battleship called the Curse Age. The Tier 8 Rochester and the Tier 9 cruiser Carnot. They're all very good, okay? They're all very good, but it's different. The funny thing about this is when I first saw this American battleship Curse Age, it's like a Montana or Iowa with a complete brand new deck and everything. And honestly, I was mixed because I know that hybrid carriers are coming out now. Hybrid warships are coming out now into water warships. I have mixed feelings, I do, but when I saw this Tier 9 Curse Age, or Curse Age, or how you pronounce it, it made me bang my head on the wall. It made me bang my head on the wall because, like, I just can't not believe what I'm reading. The guns on this thing is going to be pretty good, I know, I have to admit, but at the same time that you can't control your ship to fight that well, because, like, if you're launching aircraft planes, you can't control it that much with the guns anyway. So there are some limitations there. But anyhow, the Oregon City class heavy cruiser Rochester is a Tier 8. Definitely worthwhile checking out. And honestly, I have no idea about how good the anti-aircraft defenses and this sort of thing is going to be like, but I have a feeling, just by looking at the ship and design, it feels like you're looking at a Baltimore, or a Buffalo, or Des Moines. It looks like either one of them, but it looks pretty good. But the French cruiser, Carnot, Tier 9, has me thinking because, like, it looks pretty decent to play with. So, it's going to have hydroacoustics. It's going to have defensive AA fire. It's going to have the possibility of fighter and spotter aircraft with engine boost. So, honestly, it's going to be pretty cool. Sounds like a John Bart. Brand new version in a new way. I think so, anyway. But anyways, it's there's a new American ship, Connecticut, has been added to test combat effectiveness of U.S. battleships in close combat. The ship is a Vermont counterpart with reinforcing plating and lightweight shells with higher velocity, so that is a very strong possibility right there, my friends. Okay. But anyway, just by reading that, it looks pretty good. Okay. For now, I think just by looking at it, it is going to be worthwhile just checking it out and see what happens in this. But anyways, I'm going to just leave it like that. I think I'm a bit exhausted just by reading it all and just by checking it out and sharing it. But I will admit, they do have a lot of new opportunities here coming up. But there is something here that I wanted to touch base with everybody before I do go, and that I'm trying to find it. There it is. The news about the Friesland. Now it's a tier 9 gunboat, the Friesland. Okay, the Friesland is going away, and 10.6, which is not far away now. It's basically sometime mid this month in July 2021. She'll be no longer available, and she was going to be replaced by another ship called the Groningen, which is happening in very soon. But with the release of the Friesland, we'll have an opportunity to exchange the ship for the Groningen. Honestly, I won't exchange it, I will collect them both. But the thing is that the Friesland has been a good ship to play with. It's going to be unique in the game now. So it's being recognized. This Friesland has been recognized as a Commonwealth warship for so long, and honestly, it was mistaken to be recognized as a Commonwealth warship at first, and it's now a European warship when they first introduced it in the game, which is a bit weird at first at one point. But it's a European ship, just to clarify. It is a European destroyer, the Friesland. So it's not going to change from the way I see it. Wargaming may remove it in terms of being able to be purchased and everything in 10.6. But honestly, with 10.6 just around the corner, yeah, I'm not surprised. I really aren't. Not surprised at all. But I have to admit, 10.7 is not too far away either. And with that happening, with the release of 10.7, people who own the Friesland have the opportunity to get another ship equivalent, which is the Groningen. Is the Groningen any good? I have no idea. I haven't seen any new details on it yet, but there is more details of the Groningen coming out soon. So anyways, in the meantime, my friends, basically that comes to the end of the show. So I would say this very openly, a big thank you to everyone listening me to have my own opinions about 10.6, 10.7. I do apologize that this video was very long. But in moving forward though, I hope that this is going to be a good productive change in the World of Warships community, because we are looking forward to it. In the meantime, stay safe, take care my friends. I will see you all on the next video. If you want to follow me on my social links and videos down below, please do so. Until then, take care.